Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Cleaning Crap. My 19 female significant other of 1 year, male 18, thinks his chores are unfair, and I'm getting annoyed. I'm so frustrated. I go to college 3 to 4 hours away from home and lived in a dorm my first year. I'm a very fortunate girl, as my parents hated paying for the dorm, so they decided to rent me a good, cheap apartment so long as I stay in college and get good grades, and they also give me money for groceries. I met my significant other about a month before college started during the freshman orientation, and we started dating a month later when I moved into my dorm. He's a great guy, but he lives in my university's town, so he lived at home with his mom. His mom has done all the chores for him his whole life, and he's the type of person that throws clothing 3 feet away from the laundry basket instead of in the basket. We both are only children and the babies of our families. I used to be the same way as him until I studied abroad in Germany and came back being extremely neat and somewhat germophobic due to my German host parents putting me in my place. My family loves him, and my mom was okay with letting him move in 4 months ago. Both my parents earn 6-figure salaries, so they are able to pay for everything. Matt's parents don't earn nearly as much, so they do try to contribute in any way they can by buying us essentials, cleaning products, detergent, paper towels, etc., or giving us furniture. My parents are fine with that too. However, chores have been a struggle since the day we moved in. Matt just plain didn't know how to clean anything at first, and he was a messy person. I taught him how to clean, and I've made it clear many times that it's not okay to throw clothing on the floor or that he has to clean up after himself when he cooks. However, I would usually end up doing his chores because he would constantly forget to the point where it would be easiest to do it myself, or he would complain about a certain chore. Since I find that childish and there was a little bit of a blur of who should do what, I decided to assign chores to us and make a little week schedule like you would do for a child. There aren't that many chores to do because we live in a small apartment and we're only 2 people with hermit crabs for pets. I gave him the easiest and least time-consuming chores. Some that are only done once a week, because he would complain a lot about chores cutting into his homework time, or he didn't like doing lengthy chores like folding laundry. His only chores are vacuum the apartment, 10 minutes once a week. Wipe knobs, handles, and switches, 5 minutes once a week. Do the laundry, 10 minutes total to move the laundry around and press buttons, once a week. Iron work shirts, 10 minutes once a week. Wash dishes, over 10 minutes. Feed hermit crabs, 2 minutes. Take out the trash, 2 minutes. My chores: clean and organize the apartment, 3 to 4 hours with mopping once a week. Mop the floor once a week. Cloth folding, 45 minutes once a week. Dry and put away dishes, 5 minutes. Moisten crab substrate and change water, 20 to 30 minutes once a week. Wipe down stove and counters, 5 minutes. The only chores that have to be done every day are feeding the crabs and washing the dishes, which should take about 30 minutes of his day. The other chores are also quite easy to do since vacuuming and wiping knobs take almost no time, and he only has to pop the laundry in and out of the machines. But every effing day or days, he lets the dishes pile up, so it takes him much longer to clean than it would if he did it after every lunch and dinner. Some days when I prepare something for myself only, he asks me if I can wash my own dishes because he didn't make them dirty. The trash is also a problem because instead of taking it out every other day as he should, the trash just keeps getting more packed in every day and it's extremely annoying and gross. Mold actually grew in the bottom of the trash bin once because the trash was leaking and it hadn't been taken out for days, and it had the most horrible vomit-inducing smell I've ever smelled. Yet I have to clean the counter and stove every day because that's my chore, no matter who dirtied it up, and I never asked him to do it himself because he used the stove that day and I didn't. He's gotten upset at me before because he says I nag and repeatedly tell him to do his chores just like his mom, and he was hoping to get away from that when he moved in with me. I told him that there is a reason as to why both me and his mom nag. If he would just do the chores the first time he was told, or better yet, on his own, then nobody would have to nag. On top of that, my parents are renting this apartment for me, and I take care of it. He pretty much lives here for free, so the least he could do is effing do his part. I never told him this because it's harsh. Lastly, the reason why I posted this is an argument over piled up dirty dishes he should have washed, and he asked me to clean them. He claimed the chores are unfair because I don't work since I quit my job for this semester and have classes twice a week, so I have more time to do chores. He has classes 4 days a week and they end at about 2 p.m. He recently quit one of his jobs, so he only works weekends now, and he claims that his classes this semester are easy, but he seems to have tons of time to play video games. It's getting on my nerves. He lives here for free, so he has to do his part. His daily chores take all but 30 minutes of his day, yet all too often he either asks me to do his chores because he's tired, or he spends all his time playing video games. His chores are easy and no amount of nagging schedule making or chore listing can make him do it. What do? I love him a lot and don't want to kick him out, but I'm at the end of my rope. Well, OP, I absolutely think you're right. He should be pulling his weight and contributing to the household. What did he think this was gonna be like? That he was just gonna get to hang out all day because he lives with his girlfriend and everything gets done for him magically, like in some sort of Disney movie? And if you're wondering which Disney movie I'm thinking about, it's my favorite, The Sword into Stone. Anyways, OP, he should know that he's not playing house. He needs to contribute. So he doesn't particularly like the chores that you assigned him. Well, how about you guys sit down with the list of all the chores that need to be done in the apartment and then you distribute them in agreement. I think you're right. If he's got time to play video games, then he's got time to do his chores and play video games later. In my opinion, that's what's basically being an adult. There are responsibilities that you have to comply with, or else, well, there will be consequences, like your girlfriend getting pissed at you and kicking you out of the apartment for not pulling your weight around. So if he does not want to do any of the chores and just wants to hang out and play video games, well, he should go do that at his mom's place then. And that's what you need to tell him. You either start pulling your weight and contributing and being a partner, or you go be a cuddled little boy at your mom's place. Choose. And what do you guys think? What kind of advice would you give OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Crayon Dove says, truthfully, your parents should have said no to him moving into an apartment that they are paying for. Since they didn't, the unhappy burden falls on you. You have two options. Either he starts paying 50% of the rent and bills, or you kick him out. Personally, I'd pick option 2. Quote, I never told him this because it's harsh. End quote. No, it's life. That's the problem. His parents have raised him soft because they are soft, and now harsh is telling someone to pull their weight in a share house. You know what's harsh? Homelessness. Now, does he want to do some chores or does he want to be homeless? iBetard says, quote, my parents are renting this apartment for me and I take care of it. He pretty much lives here for free, so the least he could do is effing do his part. I never told him this because it's harsh. Well, it's about time you sit down with him and lay it on him. He needs to know that he can't trash your place. It's obvious you're being taken advantage as a crash pad with no responsibilities. Wimble Wobble says, kick him out. I know you don't want to, but you've tried treating him like an equal and he's decided to be an ungrateful slovenly leech. Tell him you are tired of being his mom. He can still be your boyfriend, but he has to live elsewhere. He might grow up over the next few years, but it's not your job to raise him. Additional information from OP's comments. As I stated in the post, we both have 2 daily chores. Though I wipe down counters and the stove, plus dry and put away dishes, he washes dishes and feeds the crabs. I think the issue leans more towards the fact that no matter what chores he has, he can choose whichever chore he prefers. He will still avoid doing them and say it cuts into his homework time and it's unfair, all while playing 2+ hours of video games every night. We used to do laundry together until he told me he hated folding. So I told him, okay, you wash and dry it and I won't mind folding it. This only happens once a week and I still have to nag him to do the laundry because if I don't, it'll just keep piling up until we run out of clean clothes. Although I appreciate everyone's comments, I don't really like the suggestions of letting him pick the chores he prefers because, like some of you said, it's coddling, and then I'll be stuck doing all the harder chores, not that he would do the easy chores anyways, while living for free in my apartment. He's had a say in the rules and chores. The thing is that if he could, he would just wallow in his own mess all day and night or have me do everything for him. I want to take care of the apartment that my parents are paying for, and it doesn't matter how much free time anybody has because 1. All his chores combined can be done within an hour, and 2. He plays video games for hours every day, and there's no way he can't carve out 12 minutes of his day to feed the crabs and wash dishes, which are his daily chores. I don't see my situation as a fair argument when he spends hours playing video games and avoiding his designated housework. I don't see it being out of line to expect someone to do their part in the household. I have just as much homework, and he has short classes 4 days a week instead of long classes 2 days a week like me. While I do have a bit more free time because I don't work, that wouldn't justify me doing all the chores if we both paid rent and both live in the same space. On top of that, it is not justifiable for a grown man to spend all his time playing video games instead of doing his chores for just a few minutes. I am not his mom, nanny, maid, whatever, under any circumstances. He's the one who always reassures me that we will get through anything whenever we have an issue and cries at the idea of having to break up with me or move out. He's a really good guy who cares about his friends and will go out of his way to help people. And since I'm with him a lot, I have to partake in those things, and in a way has made me a better person. And dealing with his very patient and less abrasive personality has also made me a better person. I think it's only fair to be patient and work with him through this. The love is there, it's just the living situation that makes me extremely frustrated. Alright, well, the community agrees. The guy's gotta go or pull his weight around, and I agree with that. And the context OP gave us just makes me want to double down on the commentary. Anyways, of course we have an update, so let's move on with that to see how this story ends. Basically, my significant other was not doing his chores despite living with me for free in the apartment my parents rent me so I can continue living in my college's town. He claimed the chores were unfair, yet he had the easier and less time-consuming chores and he has enough free time to play video games for hours. Thanks to everyone who gave me ideas and advice on how to deal with this. So I talked to him the day of or day after I made the post, and I also dropped the ultimatum of he either gets his act together or he moves out, and I mentioned that it would be harsh to say this, but I did tell him that the least he could do is do his damn chores because he lives here for free in the apartment that was meant for me only. I brought up some of the ideas people had suggested. He gets to pick his chores, make a checklist he has to check off every day, alternate who does a certain chore, try doing all the chores together, or just plain make him leave if he really hates doing simple chores so much, or thinks that it really is so unfair to expect these things from him. Surprise, surprise, he hates all chores equally, and he says he has no interest in picking out or alternating chores because he hates them all. He also objected to making a checklist because he doesn't work like that. Clearly, he doesn't want to be kicked out and go back to living with his mother, so we did find a compromise in trying to make certain chores involving both of us, as it would make it a little more fun for him or just to be more efficient. For example, he normally has to take out the trash and put a new bag in the bin. Now, I put the new bag in while he takes out the trash, or when he's washing dishes, I'll dry and put them away as he's washing instead of waiting until he's finished. The most interesting thing I learned during all of this was finding out that there were other aspects of his life that he slacked on as well, not just chores, that he was unhappy about. He was unhappy about his eating habits, not having hit the gym very often, about procrastinating. He gets good grades but tends to put off his assignments, his lack of organization, lack of hobbies, and tends to spend a lot of time crap posting on different platforms, which he sees as a lot of time being wasted. So after revealing this to me, he decided he didn't want to pussyfoot around me anymore, and he's been doing a great job at keeping up with the chores. In fact, he's actually bossed me around a bit with some chores, while he did his chores as well. As to non-chore related things, we both have been eating better and he's been going to the gym more often. I don't know if he really fixed his other issues, but it'll come with time. Anyway, it's only been a little over a week and the ultimatum was if he didn't fix his chore problem within a month, he'd have to move back to his mom's. I'm gonna trust him with this and hopefully he will still be on top of his things regardless if my parents are paying rent, he's paying rent, or we both are years from now. OP's edit. Sorry if I confused anyone by saying he was bossing me around. I meant that in good humor because he was actually taking care of his chores and he decided to clean and organize some things that we don't normally do, so he would tell me what he wanted to be cleaned and organized. So we both were cleaning and organizing things we don't normally pay attention to, and it was his call to do that. Okay, OP, I'm gonna count this as a happy update in progress because it's only been a little bit over a week. We just need to hope that he keeps on that path and doesn't stray from it, right? So to that, I'll say all the best to the both of you. Hope it works out and you guys can start enjoying living with each other without having to nag each other about what to do or what not to do. Thank you for sharing, OP, and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user AncientEditor76. I'm a middle school teacher who speaks fluent Spanish, thanks to growing up in the West Valley. Go Suns! The fact that I'm bilingual has given me many opportunities, including one where a teacher in charge of an English Language Learner Program, ELL, an important acronym for later, gave me the opportunity to tutor students twice weekly, plus an additional 15 minutes per every hour worked as prep time. Okay, cool. So Mondays and Fridays I punch in 15 minutes before 2:20 p.m. during my 7th hour prep, then punch out at 3:30 p.m. when the kids left. No problem, right? Wrong. At the end of the year, I get an email saying I'm being docked 11.5 hours that were punched in before the end of the day. I was livid. They claimed I'm being double paid, but I looked through everything I signed off on and didn't remember seeing any restrictions on when I was to punch in for those hours. We met in the office and the district representative had me sign this document and she showed me the contract I signed. Nowhere did it specify when I was to punch in those hours, and I brought this up to the attention of everyone who was present, but Federal Action Plan, FAP, office lady persisted. Just sign it, you can't get double paid. Enter Malicious Compliance. I signed quickly, this time using my middle name, which happens to be F this BS. It read, oh, F this BS P. I happen to know the person at the district office, the O Savior, who will be reviewing this paperwork, and know that she'll either ask me what's up or to have me re-sign an obvious non-signature. And like clockwork, I got a phone call on my 7th hour prep from D.O. Savior. She asked me why I signed like this and why I'm being docked. I explained my working with the 2 new students who don't speak any English all year and even teaching them both English all year. I explained that no one has said anything all year and that I'd have made the adjustment to get paid those hours the entire school year. She says, wait a minute, you were on your prep time, right? And you're bilingual? Do you have a certification? All answers were yes. My next paycheck was $3,500, more than my standard paycheck, coming out of the FAP lady's budget for federal action plans. I was very confused at first. It appears that I can punch in during my contract hours if it's on my scheduled prep. And because I have an ELL endorsement, I got this endorsement working with monolingual students in the West Valley, and my direct supervisor on campus doesn't, I get paid as an ELL leader on campus. Quite the stipend. So what was supposed to be a $345 deduction in pay, for me turned out to be 10 times greater, as a deduction from their department paid directly to me. So looks like the FAP lady's right. I can't get double paid, but looks like I can get double quintuple paid. Nicely done, OP, and well earned. Thank you for sharing. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.